Thank you very, very much, Senator Whitehouse, for convening this hearing and for yourself spearheading and advocating measures to stop domestic violence. And I want to join you in thanking our chairman, Senator Leahy, for permitting this hearing to go forward. And I want to say a particular thanks to a Connecticut family who are here, Mary and Doug Jackson. Their daughter, Lori, was a victim of domestic violence. But she chose not to accept it. She displayed the courage that her parents taught her, and she decided to break with it. As many of you know, that decision takes such enormous bravery and resoluteness. She broke with her husband. She went to live with her parents. She took with her her 18-month-old twins. She left her abusive husband, and she decided to begin a new life. Lori's act of courage should have liberated her, should have freed her. But instead, she became a victim again, and this time fatally. Her estranged husband tracked her down in her mother's house, and he used the gun that he was still legally allowed to possess to gun her down and to seriously injure her mother, firing bullets at her that almost killed Mary Jackson. Mary and Doug Jackson are with us today, and I am so deeply grateful to you for joining us.
Said what we're doing. If he wants in.
Lori Jackson sought successfully a temporary restraining order, which should have protected her. The law failed Lori Jackson. The judge granted that restraining order after determining that her husband posed a clear threat to her safety and the safety of her children. But even after that determination, Lori's husband was still able to keep the gun that killed her. Even if he hadn't possessed that gun, he could have legally purchased a new one. Even at the moment of heightened rage, when he learned that she had left and was seeking that restraining order. In most states, somebody subject to a temporary restraining order can lose access to his house, to his children, to his car, but under federal law, he can still keep his guns. Somebody might be considered too dangerous to see their son, but not too dangerous to buy a handgun. And because of that loophole in our law, abuse victims are the least protected by the laws of our nation at the moment they are in the most danger. At the moment when they are most likely to be physically harmed because of the rage and wrath of their estranged spouse or intimate partner, they are less protected than any other time. I've offered legislation to close this loophole and require a period after the domestic abuser becomes subject to a temporary restraining order. During that period, when a judge has found that someone poses a threat and issues a temporary restraining order, the subject of that order should be barred from purchasing or possessing a gun, and the justice system should be helping the potential victim. Unfortunately and tragically and unacceptably, most victims are still at the mercy of their abuser's rage, despite the kind of courage that Lori Jackson demonstrated in breaking with an abusive spouse. I've also introduced a measure, the Gun Homicide Prevention Act, to make sure that There are incentives and resources and grants available to states so that they will enforce these laws. These states are provided with grants under this legislation that encourages them to get illegal guns out of the hands of dangerous people and away from dangerous situations, and it gives them the resources to do so effectively. Enforcement, as I know from my own background as Attorney General of the state of Connecticut for a couple of decades and as a federal law enforcement officer as United States Attorney, is the key to making the law real in people's lives. Right now, federal law is a shadow of what it should be in protecting against gun violence and domestic abuse. I want to recognize again the thousands of men and women who have become victims as a result of this gaping, unforgivable loophole in federal law. Their strength and courage will inspire me, and I hope inspire this body, just as Lori Jackson's parents being here today should give us the resoluteness and the strength to make this law real.